Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Today, I wanted to talk about my 10 favorite, most carried, mid-sized EDC fixed blade knives. When I say mid-sized EDC fixed blade knives, I'm talking about a knife that I could carry either as a backup to my everyday carry or I could carry it as a replacement. Usually these are going to be my larger 6-7 inch EDCs, fixed blades, and these are by far my top 10. And the way I'm going to do these, instead of going by favorites, because they're all kind of hard to discriminate against, I love them all, I'm going to go kind of from my largest to the smallest of what I consider a primary EDC fixed blade. Starting with the largest in the group, and probably one of my favorites. This is a handcrafted, USA-made Mag10 KnifeWorks. Colin McGuire is the maker of this EDW. The EDW is a wicked Wharncliffe blade, nice deep hollow grind, beautiful swedge on the top, super thin blade stock, nice jimping on this harpoon blade. This has got an 80s carbon fiber handle with a lime green G10 liner, G10 pins. And guys, for an EDC knife, which for me is cutting open different types of packaging, cutting open packages, whatever the case may be, the occasional somebody trying to steal my Slurpee and we have to get them a leaking, this knife is excellent. It is a great carry. It is thin, it is light, but it is a nice, what I would consider a full-sized knife for EDC use. This guy is going to measure in right at 7.5 inches, kind of on the larger size of what I carry on the EDC, and I've got it in this Oak City leather pocket dropper, so I can just drop this in my right pocket. It's got a deep concealment clip. Snap that over the hem. I won't be able to get it back out, but that locks in deep just like that, and that clip's not coming anywhere. It is not easy to get out because of the way it's toothed in there, but it works fantastic. I love this knife. This is the Colin McGuire, aka Mag10 KnifeWorks EDW. Moving on, we come to another more full-size awesome knife. I also have this knife in a folder. I prefer the fixed blade for a couple of reasons. One, it's a fixed blade, so it's a solid, full tang implement. It's a great tool, the exact same size as my folder. It's also thinner, so the blade stock is a little thinner and the handle is a little thinner. Both of mine are micarta, my folder and my fixed blade. But this guy is M390. It is, again, another Wharncliffe. It's got micarta handles, nice stainless bolsters that hold down, or screws that hold down the handles. Tall blade, flat grind, very, very slicey, very much a just stable knife. Doesn't have a point, so I don't have to worry about it being pokey stabby necessarily. But in terms of being a utility worker, it is a very, very good worker. Great cutter, great slicer. It's going to come in right at 7 3/4 inches. The blade on it is going to be about 3 3/4 with a little bit over 3.5 inch cutting area. Handle 3 3/4 inches on the inside. So from right here to right here, you've got 3 3/4. Does not have a lanyard hole, but doesn't really need one. Just a great full-size knife that started out as a folder in my collection, and then when Joseph Vero offered it as a fixed blade, I bought one. I think it's a great knife, and that is the Vero Axon fixed blade. Moving on, we come to one of my favorites, and this is the Axial knives, USA made, Alpine, in the Tanto. And it's kind of an American Tanto because it's a shorter Tanto up at the front. This one's DLC coated. It is made out of MagnaCut. It is super thin, G10 handle, totally blacked out, slicey as you'd ever want. rugged little knife, fits my hand perfectly, and this one's going to come in a little smaller. We're getting down kind of in a what I would consider more of an ideal size for me. This little guy does have a lanyard. It comes in right under 7 inches, right over 6 3/4. It's got a 3 1/4 inch blade with roughly 2 1/2 inch cutting here, plus another inch, so you've got 3 1/2 inches cutting across that Tanto, and 3 1/2 inches on your inside grip. So 3 1/2 from right here to right here. Fits my hand very, very well, and it is a very thin MagnaCut blade. Love this knife. I've also got it in a Warncliffe, but the Tanto and the DLC is the one I wanted to showcase here today, and it is definitely one of my favorites. Moving on, we come to another USA made knife, and this is going to be one of the thicker knives. I've got a couple of knives on here that are small, but they're thicker. They're a little bit more tactical, if you will. This has got more of a full-size grip. This is the TKell Adversary. Probably one of the knives from TKell that I've been blessed to try out that I like the most. It is absolutely perfect from a grip standpoint. It is EDC RV2. You've got these nice rock pattern G10 handles. You've got this wonderful swedge that makes this knife is now locked into my hand. Should I have to use this as a piercer, it is going to pierce like nobody's business, and it's slicey as the day is long. I love a Warncliffe, and I love a good American-made TKell knife. It is a bruiser, so this is not going to be thin blade stock. You look at this, this is quite a bit thicker than what we've been looking at with, for example, our Axial or our Vero are probably going to be about half that thickness, and that's just because the TKell is a tactical little operator of a knife. So not only does it make for a great EDC knife, I'm not going to show you how all these ride, but they all are set up to ride very deep. They're not going to ride quite as deep as what you're used to in your folding knife, but that knife, you have a little bit of that handle exposed. That deep carry concealment clip is locked in there, and you can carry it either in your right pocket, or if I'm carrying it with another knife, I'll carry it in my back pocket. Either way, this knife conceals and carries very well. The TKell Adversary, I'm a huge fan. Love this knife. Moving on, we come to an Italian-made knife, and this is the Viper Knives Mirror 2. This is a great little EDC fixed blade. For me, it's just about perfect in terms of size and the way it fits my hand. You've got this very simple drop point, spear point blade, full tang with this nice finger choil, and these thin, contoured out micarta handles. Gives you a very thin carry profile, but a very usable utilitarian cutting style. This knife is extremely slicey, extremely thin, and it's very pokey. Just a great EDC knife, from whether if you're trying to do detail cuts, you're doing more slashing cuts, you're doing pull cuts, or you're saving your Slurpee. It has this little leather sheath that's kind of unique, leather sheath that allows you to carry it. The way I carry it is simply drop it in my pocket, like so. Break out my ripped up pants again. Just drop it down in my pocket, pop that over. I've got the knife where I need it. Take it out. It's magnetic, keeps it locked in place. I love that sheath. Again, it's not a heavy duty, just yank it out. I do keep my finger on the sheath when I pull it out, but the Mirror 2 is a great little specimen in M390 from Italy. Designed by a guy that worked at Viper Knives that started his own knife company. We'll see one of his knives in just a second. Moving on, we come to an OG, just everybody, it seems like, that carries EDC fixed blades is aware of this little knife. This is the Boker AK1. I'll actually put a couple of links in my description for this knife, because you can buy this knife in several different configurations. This is a kind of a reverse Tanto and RWL 34. kind of more high-end price point wise, going to be close to $300, but they also make this knife in N690 and G10 for about $130. Exact same profile, except the blade is an American Tanto as opposed to the reverse Wharncliffe. But your cutting area, what makes this knife special, the ergonomics, it's a collaboration between Daily Carry and Boker Knives. They've been making it for years, and it's probably one of the best EDC fixed blades I have. It was a grail of mine. It has an ulti-clip. I won't go through all the issues of locking it down, but you simply pop your ulti-clip, drop it down, stick your ulti-clip around the hem, lock it in, you've got it there. Knife comes out, knife goes in, pop your ulti-clip, and it comes out. You got to slide that over your hem, and then when you clip down your ulti-clip, you are locked in and you're not pulling that sheath out. Great little knife. This is a Soligen Germany Boker AK1 and RWL 34. Fantastic knife. I'll put some links to it in a couple of different trim levels, but this is one of my all-time favorites. Moving on, we come to a custom knife that I picked up a few weekends ago from a local maker who sells all over the states. This is Dustin Driver Defense Knives. This is another one of the thicker knives on my little small EDC list. We need to go back and get a couple of dimensions. I have failed to give you all dimensions on the TKell, on the Mirror 2, and on the Boker AK1. Sorry about that, guys. Let's drag a tape real quick. These are all going to come in pretty close. But the TKell, that's a little bit thicker, is going to come in right at 7 inches. So this is a 7-inch carry. The Mirror 2, which is thinner, much thinner than the TKell, is right over 6 3/4, between 6 3/4 and 7 inches. And then the Boker AK1 is going to come in right at 6 3/4. A little bit smaller, which brings us back to where we are on our little bit thicker but a little bit shorter Driver Defense Ricochet. This is a knife designed and built by Dustin Driver with a Magna Cut blade, heat treated about 64-65. This phenomenal jimping on this little drop point blade. This knife is a worker. It is full tang, thick blade construction, nice swedge, G10 handles and liners, absolutely laser beam. Not the thinnest blade geometry, but it's set up to be a worker. But just absolutely slicey as you could want. Great little fixed blade for a lot of different uses. Just a hard worker. One that I would trust my life on and would absolutely use as a primary fixed blade if it was the one and done that I had to carry. It comes in right under 6 inches, right over 6 3/4. Has a Kydex sheath, deep concealment carry clip. So if we were going to put it in the pocket, it's going to carry down to right there. That's where the clip is. Fantastic carry. Fantastic little knife, the Driver Defense Ricochet. Moving on, we got a couple more, and they're getting smaller. This is an absolutely wonderful knife. From the way that Big Idea Design Company designed the clip in the center of the sheath, it came with the right hand and the left hand sheath. So this titanium clip allows you to put this sheath in your pocket, say whether it's your front pocket or your back pocket. I usually carry it in my back pocket. Rides super deep. The reason it does is you'll notice, let's see if I can get this out without knocking all my lights off, retains very well. But you'll notice that that clip is cantered down so it carries that much deeper. This little knife is excellent. It is a little S35VN, small, titanium handled EDC blade called the Lookout, designed after a mountain that inspired its existence in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where Big Idea Company is located right outside of where I live, about 45 minutes away. This little knife is a joy to carry. It is a little bit on the heavier side with the titanium, but that's okay. That's the way I picked it. And I've scratched up the titanium some. It's also available in micarta, and it's also available in a USA-made copy. This one's a Best Tech copy that they had Best Tech OEM'd, and then they started making them in Chattanooga, and this guy comes in right at 6 inches. So you can get a Big Idea Design Company little lookout, either OEM by Best Tech, fantastic little knife, or the same knife, USA made in Magna Cut, as opposed to S35VN. Same wonderful titanium clip and sheath configuration, but this is the Big Idea Design Company lookout, and it is a winner. Moving on, we come to the second smallest in this group, and this is my Boker BFF Barlow, or Barlow BFF. It doesn't look like Barlow, but it's a Lucas Burnley design. I don't know why they call it the Boker Barlow BFF, but they do. It is, again, a Burnley designed knife, this ABEL steel. It is a basic little knife. You've got a micarta handle, full tank construction on this little clip point, drop point blade that is just very utilitarian. It's a basic knife, guys. It looks like a knife my granddad would have used. It looks like a knife that somebody on the frontier would have used, and it works very well. It's simple, it's understated, it's elegant, and for me, it is a great EDC fixed blade. This little guy clocks in at 6 inches. It rides in the pocket with this really nice leather pocket dropper, which is one of the reasons I really like this knife, because all you do is I put it in my back pocket, or you can put it in your front pocket. Just clip it down. Rod's right there. You've got a little bit of the knife showing out, not a lot. You go to draw it, pull it out, you've got your knife. Put it back in, you're in good shape. That is the Boker Barlow BFF. Fantastic little small fixed blade. I love it. It's one of my go-tos, which brings us to the final go-to of this mid-size EDC fixed blade carry. And this is designed by the same gentleman who designed the Viper Knives Mirror 2. This is his knife company, Straight Line Knives. That's the logo. And this is his Ernie. He has two designs right now, an Ernie and another little drop point that is a beautiful, or excuse me, a little Warncliffe that's a beautiful little knife. The Alley. I picked the Ernie out of the two because I like this reverse Tanto shape. I like the Warncliffe too, but this just seemed a little slicier to me, and it could have just been the way it was ground from the factory, because I was able to check both of these out from White Mountain Knives. I'll leave a link to them there. And then I was able to pick which one I wanted after I reviewed them, and I liked the Ernie a little bit better, although the Alley's a fantastic knife. They're both exactly the same size. They come with the same sheath, which is this leather sheath, just like Viper uses. This one's a little different in that it has two magnets. I still use this magnet because I carry this knife as a pocket dropper, where I put it in my pocket, put the knife in the sheath, and I carry it like that. However, it's got another magnet that's back up here that if I wanted to run my belt through it, I could. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm a pocket dropper dude. It just works better. And this little Alley is M390. It is super thin, super slicey, super small, and one of my absolute favorite medium-sized EDC fixed blades. And you guys are probably going, John, medium-sized? That's a 6-inch knife. Right, but I've got some knives that are much smaller, right? So I had to break them up some way, and I'll do one on my top small knives, really small knives, because a lot of the times, 90% of the times, I'm always going to be carrying a fold or two, so I can get by with a much smaller fixed blade knife as a backup carry and be just fine, still have a primary carry. But guys, any one of these knives I could recommend. I've lived with them, I've loved on them, I've cut with them, I've carried them. Depending on what you're looking at, your situation is going to dictate if a fixed blade knife's right for you, and if so, which one's going to be right for you. These could all be too small for you, depending on what you prefer, right? But these are my top 10. I love each and every one of them. They're fantastic knives. They span the imported, US-made, handmade production, small production. Guys, thank you for watching. Do me a favor, hit the like button. Watch that video that's popping up over there, or another one of my videos. It always helps. But most importantly, please, thank you to all my channel members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're so inclined and you haven't had a chance to subscribe to the channel yet, if you hit the subscribe button. But please, most importantly, look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your hearts and choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.